Dear perceptive reader, good day to you. I want to start off on this Wednesday with a very clear statement that maybe if some of you are artists, you might make a song about it or something. So let me make this statement. No, before I make the statement, let me say this. It really goes to show how people will make arguments at times that this was the first time I even ever heard an argument like this, because it is really a twisting of concepts and words that goes to show even the statement is really purposely misleading something, a muddling of concepts, a muddling of what is good and what is bad. Here's what I mean. The statement was this: access to someone who is smarter or brighter than you is not a threat. Isn't that interesting? And so on the surface, that may sound like that, oh, it's uplifting, it's this and that, or what have you. But let me say it again. If someone says access to someone smarter than you is not a threat, the first thought that went through my mind was, huh? And here's why. Because aren't people normally, for ages on end, looking for someone that may know something, that they can ask a question, teach them about a subject that they don't know about? People every day, they do research. And you know me, I talk about writing letters, writing emails, and saying, can you help me with this or that? So it's, to me, for the most part, I don't even think people really, formulate their mind in that way to think that having access to someone smarter than them would make them feel like it's a threat, because they know they actually really got questions that they want answered. And so I thought that was very interesting. So here is the way my mind went next. And all this happened in less than 1 billionth of a second. Because you want to know the spirit of what I felt. I still felt like this is what I felt. I felt like, man, I got a nosy person in front of me or what have you, and they're still really being misleading, or they're twisting what that word access really means in the way that they're using it. So the whole point is, nosy people, I told you in times past, man, they used to just try to hang around you or hang around people who knew you, just to be nosy. Now, some nosy people have gotten so bad. I mean, in that form of their, I don't want to call it form, that aspect of their personality, which has really gotten out of hand, that no, they don't even want to try to, sneakily ask you these questions about your business in this way or that way, especially if they know they're not going to get an answer. But they have gone to all sorts of intrusive means to still get access to that same type of information. You see, to satisfy some type of, in some case, more than just an average, I wonder if the person is all right. But no, they use that information in so many bad ways. It's just out of hand. It's just out of hand. And so they have even taken to the next level where people used to say, well, any type of publicity is good publicity. And, I disagree with that because remember I told you as a business person, if you get publicity, um, and especially if you don't care nothing about being famous at all you care about is what? The money, just the money. So the point is, your name can become known, which you don't really care about. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like that's just not really rock your boat in that way. But you don't get no money, then that publicity isn't helping anything. All it's doing is traveling and discouraging future customers or any customers you would have had or already have from still not patronizing you anymore. At first, they got to sort through all the misleading gossip and slander. And so that's the way that all this publicity and and dishonesty about who you are, your brand, and your product has done to a lot of people wrong. It has not helped them to gain business. And again, some people say, well, yeah, it still will cause some people to look into your matter in this way or that way. But you know what? If again, it's already been established, people can just still take from you privacy invasion and all sorts of other stuff, then again, it's doing more harm to you, the person who is the business individual, and not to them. And I'm going to tell you something else with the twisting of words of access that you heard me just mention. Access does not mean privacy invasion. And access for people who are, again, look into your life and your business, and then they get their mind all tripped up and everything. They did that to themselves. You don't get rid of the person, your neighbor, as the scriptures by Jehovah God clearly shows, who's living in peace with you, but through your own nosy, busybody methods, you cause more problems to yourself. You don't get rid of that law-abiding citizen, that spiritual-minded citizen. You straighten out those nosy, busybody people. See, the Bible call them busybody people. You straighten them out. And that's what I'm going to share with you, perceptive reader, that access, see, even though the way that they were using it to twist it, that's not really the right way to frame the statement of access to someone smarter than you is not a threat. But, um, it had a few other statements. No, it's not a threat. You don't even have to word a question like that, a statement like that. I told you, to me, that just, in my mind, sounded like another nosy person trying to make their argument on why they should be able to have privacy invasion and access to somebody who didn't give them permissions in the first place. That's really the underlying of the way it was worded, and that's the way I'm taking it. Now, the person who spoke it like that, they may be sincere in what they were saying, but I was telling you again, in general, for many other people that I've known over the years, no one would have even had to make a statement like that because everybody has been going around through their life in order to what? Find somebody who knew something about this subject or more subjects than them. And if they find it, then guess what? They still show the proper respect and dignity in approaching them the way that they were supposed to approach them. You see, people know all the time about boundaries, personal boundaries, and things of that nature. And that's one of the reasons why I say again, and this is not political, but I'm still telling you the fact of the matter. Uh, People who cross over other person's boundaries, their home boundaries, their land boundaries, God even condemns that. He condemned about moving markers. If somebody has a boundary for their land marker, and you move it to make it even a few centimeters. You're not even supposed to move it at all. You're not even supposed to make it fall over so it looks like this extra is your land. That God condemns that. And yet you got people who would justify even moving your land boundaries, trying to make it sound like they would try to make these twisted, warped arguments to even claim preeminent domain in this way, and it's not even justified. It's not even justified. So that's crookery. That's dishonesty. So that's what I mean. The same thing about that question or that statement somebody made. If somebody gives you access to their life in this way or that way, you see, and I'm talking again, there are some areas, pay back Caesar things to Caesar and God's things to God. So the point is, people don't have the right to listen to your private prayers if you don't want them to listen to your private prayers. Fact. That's a fact. There's a time and place for everything. So the whole point is, I told you, people may try to make arguments and justify this and that, and yet sometimes they're just a bunch of nosy, busybody individuals who are making arguments that they are not qualified, and no, they don't have the authority, and they're certainly not qualified to even be requesting such access in this way and that way. So what do? They cross more of God's laws and principles. They break them in order to still take the information that you never did agree to, that you wouldn't have agreed to. So that's part of what they need to repent from. That is the judgment that is upon them. And in closing, or through the course of my life, I used to tell a few persons this about a man that I knew. And this man, again, he knew how to mind his own business, even though people used to like to just tell this man his business or what have you. But whenever they got to the point again where they were crossing his boundaries so many times on what he never did tell them to do or have access to, or took something away from the person that they gave it to. See, notice the dishonesty there. You give somebody the gift of your access, then that person should treasure it. They should prize it. And you see what I'm saying? And they shouldn't give it to somebody else. Or what? Eventually, even the God in heaven will make them lose it. And then they can't get mad at the person if they don't give them access back in that way again. Or if they don't want to show the proper respect, the proper process to actually gain it back. See, that sometimes that shows that you're really serious about repairing a relationship. That shows a form of repentance. So people keep showing God just what type of individual and what citizen they would really be in his new world when they can't even apply the two basic commandments in honor, dignity, and respect. Seriously. So all those persons who talk about, respect that is earned, well, okay, I certainly appreciate why they like to say that, but I'm going to tell you this. Whether you respect me or not, you still not going to sit up there and just, trample over my boundaries. I tell you that, my own personal boundaries. And that's your problem. That's your problem. And I want to tell you this as well. That is one of the biggest problems I've had with nosy, busybody people. I'm going to tell you right now, people like to always talk about this other type of personality or what have you. No, talk about nosy, busybody people. Label that personality. What is that? No, it's an action. And anybody can be like that. Even the ones who have the most elevated view of themselves, the way they carry themselves out. If you sit up there and you trample upon, take full advantage of a basic hello access and think that means permission to just take over and view every aspect of that person's life. I'm here to tell you again today, spiritually, you need some help. It's a warped view of that access. No, no. So I'm here to state again, perceptive reader, let them know access does not mean privacy invasion. Take care of yourself.